Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Lee Haywood with your Storm Track 3 forecast.
It is a clear and cold Monday evening across the Cape Fear. Most communities now are in the 30s, including Wilmington at 34, middle 30s in Elizabethtown and Whiteville, and 28 degrees in Kenansville. So it's already cold, and it's going to get even colder as we head through the overnight. Low temperatures will be in the upper 20s and low 30s with continued clear skies. Nice weather tomorrow, but a chance for rain, even freezing rain in parts of the area Wednesday. More on that straight ahead. Your news at 11 starts right now.
You're watching WWAY News at 11.
A Delta flight crashes while landing tonight on WWAY News at 11. More than a dozen people injured, and the latest on what happened at that airport in Toronto. Plus, how new Hanover County schools will be impacted by President Trump's recent executive orders on Title IX. And we'll tell you about a new device Wilmington Fire is urging people with oxygen tanks to have in their home to reduce the risk of fires. Thanks for joining us tonight for your news at 11. I'm Jeff Rivenbark. 18 people are hurt after Delta Airlines plane flipped over while landing at Toronto's airport this afternoon. A child is among the injured. Wendy Gillette reports on what happened.
We just landed. Our plane crashed. It's upside down.
John Nelson posted this video on social media just after the crash that captured the scary and surreal scene.
Everybody, most people appear to be okay.
Flight attendants and passengers helped others on board crawl out of the upside-down aircraft. Medical helicopters and ambulances quickly responded. Firefighters sprayed down the plane right after it crashed. Delta Flight 4819 was operated by Endeavour Air en route to Toronto from Minneapolis. The airline says 76 passengers and 4 crew were on board.
There was no loss of life. And this is in due part to our heroic and trained professionals, our first responders at the airport.
The airport was shut down for several hours, but then resumed operations. Delta canceled all flights to Toronto for the remainder of the night. Weather could have played a factor in the accident. At the time, there were wind gusts of 40 miles per hour and blowing snow from 2 feet that fell in the past week.
Having flown in Toronto many times, it is challenging with the winter conditions. You have to be on top of icing situations, both for the runway, also for the aircraft. They're going to be looking at wind shears, possibly anything that could actually have turned the aircraft over like that.
The Transportation Safety Board of Canada will lead the investigation, with U.S. teams assisting.
That was Wendy Gillette reporting. Delta has activated its passenger inquiry center for the families of those on board. Back in the Cape Fear, several firefighters responding to a structure fire in Brunswick County tonight. According to a sheriff's office Facebook post, it occurred on Sunset Harbor Road near Burns Way. This is a developing story. We'll let you know as soon as we learn any new details. A Whiteville High School student was arrested this morning after a loaded handgun was discovered in his backpack during a routine security check. The Columbus County Sheriff's Office says the school resource officer secured the weapon. 19-year-old Taquan Davis is charged with possession of a firearm on school campus. He was given a $5,000 secured bond. In Wilmington, 2 men are facing charges after a crash on Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway early this morning. The vehicle was traveling fast when it crashed into a nearby barrier. The driver, 28-year-old Jawan Johnson Jr., is charged with DWI, speeding, and reckless driving. Police have not released his photo, but they released a picture of his passenger, 20-year-old Mercedes Holmes, who could be facing a stolen firearm charge. The New Hanover County Sheriff's Office says a Wilmington man has been charged with death by distribution for a fatal overdose that occurred in January. Sheriff's deputies responded to a call on River Road on January 3rd where they found 65-year-old Edwin Bell unresponsive. He was pronounced dead at the scene. 44-year-old Johnny Lee Herring faces multiple felony drug charges in addition to that death by distribution charge. He's being held under a $250,000 secured bond. Nearly a year after funds from North Carolina's opioid settlement were doled out to a number of programs, the joint New Hanover County and City of Wilmington Task Force met today to evaluate how the new fiscal year's funding will be distributed. More than $5 million was given out during fiscal year 2024-2025, with several programs helping more people than in previous years. For example, Coastal Horizons medication-assisted treatment at the New Hanover County Detention Center has served more than 120 people in just 6 months, which is more than twice the number of people who received help the year before. City Council member Luke Waddell says the opioid crisis is slowly starting to turn around.
For the first time in years, we've actually seen a decrease, a substantial decrease in opioid overdose deaths and non-fatal opioid overdoses in New Hanover County, again for the first time in years.
The task force unanimously approved the recommended budgets for 15 different programs for this coming fiscal year. With President Trump's recent executive orders on Title IX, the New Hanover County Schools Title IX Committee met tonight to discuss how the order will impact New Hanover County schools. WWA's Keelan Berrien was at that meeting. He joins us now live in our studio. Keelan, what did they talk about tonight?
Well, Jeff, the Title IX committee members had a roundtable discussion to talk about sexual assault complaints in the school and what it covered under Title IX. Now, the sexual assault survey of students in the district revealed that girls and gay and lesbian students were more likely to be harassed than others. Now, more than 400 complaints were made to the Title IX office since August, but only 78 of those complaints were related to Title IX. Dr. Tim Merrick is part of the committee. He says although the numbers are low, one case is one too many. And after not gathering for a year, Merrick feels these Title IX meetings should be held more frequently because it's important to keep parents and the public informed.
We owe it to the public to let them know that we are watching out, we are paying attention, and that we're going to do whatever is necessary to make sure these kids get the right treatment. The more work we do and the more visible we are, the less likely that perpetrators will come out of the woodwork, right?
Now, John Henry with the Title IX office says recent Title IX policies outlined in President Trump's executive order are not in place. For now, the district is following standards put in place during the first Trump administration in 2020. That policy states that any sexual assault, including harassment, dating violence, and stalking are not tolerated. But Henry foresees changes to the district's policy coming in the future. So right now, he says the department is steadily encouraging parents, students, and staff to report any misconduct and believes the reporting system is going well.
We have a lot of policies that govern a lot of the misconduct, actually all the misconduct. So even if it's not a Title IX thing, there's policies out there for harassing behavior, bullying, disruptive. There's a lot of rules out there that can govern a lot of different student behaviors.
Now, the next Title IX committee meeting will be held March the 10th. Jeff?
Thank you, Keelan. Colder temperatures are heading our way once again. To ensure those most vulnerable have a safe place to stay, the warming shelter ILM will once again open its doors later this week. The shelter opens anytime overnight temperatures are expected to fall below 30 degrees for 2 consecutive nights. This will be the third time this winter the shelter will welcome people for an extended stay at Grace United Methodist Church. The shelter will open Wednesday and plans to close on Saturday. If you're looking for a way to volunteer or help out, we have more details with this story on our website at wwaytv3.com. The Wilmington Fire Department is promoting a life-saving device that can prevent house fires. A two-way thermal fuse, also known as a fire break, can be attached to home oxygen systems to prevent fire from spreading up the tube. The fire department says in houses with oxygen systems, 73% of fires are caused by people smoking or lighting a cigarette. Attaching the thermal fuse to the oxygen line can stop a fire from spreading up the line. The thermal fuses cost less than $7 and can be purchased online. You'll find more details about the devices with this story on our website. Pender County Schools has announced the final 4 name choice combos for its new K-8 school. The school is being built on 145 acres of land near the Highway 210 corridor in Hampstead. 2 of the choices are Hampstead Elementary, Hampstead Middle, and Topsail Elementary, Topsail Middle. The other suggestions are East Pender Elementary, East Pender Middle, and Hampstead Elementary, Topsail Elementary. The final decision will be made by the Pender County Board of Education based on the survey results. The deadline to vote is March 4th. We've got a link to vote on our website. Ahead on your news at 11, with the president brewing up tariffs on foreign countries, why extra charges on imports could have some local craft brewers all tapped out. And we'll tell you which school district is rolling out a new app for teachers to get the word out quick in case there's an emergency.
And we have another pretty nice day over the Cape Fear. Heading into Tuesday, bringing mostly sunny skies, just a few scattered clouds. Now the high temperatures will be pretty chilly, only around 50 degrees on the coast. But on Wednesday, it's going to be a cold rain, and in some cases, some freezing rain is possible. We'll tell you where coming up.
Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Lee Haywood with your Storm Track 3 forecast.
Well, it's really sad to see this. At least 12 people have died from severe storms and flooding across Kentucky. Emergency crews with the Kentucky National Guard and the Kentucky State Police conducted more than 1,000 water rescues over the weekend. And a group of firefighters from right here in New Hanover County Fire and Rescue and also the Wilmington Fire Department, they're helping in the recovery efforts in Kentucky, and it is very, very serious there. You can just see some of the water and flooding. Well, let's talk about our calmer weather pattern, as we did have a few gusty showers yesterday, but it turned into a really nice day today. The sunshine came back. We started in the 30s in the morning, but we got to 52 for the afternoon. With high pressure in control, certainly going to be a nice pattern for the next couple of at least hours and also into the day tomorrow. So let's talk about 3-degree guarantee for Saturday. That was the last forecast day. Lower Cape Fear Life Care, that is a nonprofit for the month of February. 66 was the forecast. We got to 70, so didn't quite verify there. Going to be a chilly one tomorrow, 52 degrees, all we're going to get for the high temperature. So tomorrow should be a pretty good day, but then on Wednesday, we're going to be getting that wet weather coming in. Clear skies at the Wilmington International Airport right now. Newberry Home Improvements, Skyview Camera Network. We're going to drop a few more degrees overnight, most likely dipping into the upper 20s and low 30s out there. These are the overnight lows. 30 degrees in Elizabethtown, Leland, and Wilmington. 28 the forecast low tonight in Burgaw. And you can see even coastal communities. It's going to be a cold morning as you head out the door. Bundle up. 30 degrees in Holden Beach, 33 Calabash. Upper 20s in White Lake, and about 30 degrees in Bolton. So let's talk about this interesting weather pattern, because not only do we have Arctic air arriving into the region for mid and late week, but we have a storm system that comes in during Wednesday. It's going to bring an 80% chance for rain, and we could as well see some freezing rain, some winter weather as we get late Wednesday and Wednesday night. I'm going to have more on that in just a second, but look at the temperatures. 46 and dropping on Wednesday, low 40s Thursday and Friday, and the overnight lows Thursday and Friday will be way down into the 20s, so bitter cold is expected across the region. With that in mind, we have a winter storm watch in effect beginning Wednesday afternoon through Thursday morning. This is for northernmost communities. Notice in Robeson County, Bladen County are included, so is Pender County and to the north. The concern is not snow, it is freezing rain. It's essentially rain that falls, and the air in the low part of the atmosphere is at or below freezing, and so this liquid water that's super cool freezes on objects, freezes on cars and roads and trees, and so we're concerned about this causing some significant issues Wednesday night, at least in parts of this area, and that is why the winter storm watch has been issued. Now let me go over the forecast for the next 48 hours. As you can see, clear skies in place tonight and a mostly sunny sky. Pretty good day tomorrow, no big weather issues. Then we get into tomorrow night, we'll start to see the clouds come in. Certainly it's possible by the beginning of Thursday to start to see this cold rain arriving, and even by 10 a.m. starting to see this area of icing, potentially Lumberton, maybe around the border of Elizabethtown, up in Kenansville, maybe in Jacksonville. And as we go through the day, we'll continue to see the risk for some of that freezing rain on surfaces, and then by about midnight into the overnight hours, some of the guidance indicates a storm system will exit the region, so it could be more of an issue Wednesday into Wednesday evening, perhaps ending by Wednesday night. But remember, that ice will stay on surfaces, so it is going to be making for some dicey travel as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday morning, especially in northernmost communities where we have that winter storm watch up. But again, Wednesday is going to be your weather-aware day. Tomorrow should be just fine, and then by the time we get into Thursday and Friday, we'll see the conditions dry out. We'll see a good deal of sunshine. We'll see definitely Arctic cold air. Highs will struggle to get out of the 30s into the low 40s, Jeff, by Friday morning. 22 degrees for the low, and middle 20s to around 30 for the upcoming weekend. So if you thought it was chilly today, it's going to get even colder for later this week.
Those heat pumps are going to be on this week.
Definitely so. And again, watching that risk for rain or freezing rain, and we'll keep you up to date.
All right. Thank you, Lee. President Donald Trump's planned tariffs on Canada and Mexico are set to go into effect next month, but already they're causing some businesses to reconsider their supply chains and whether they may have to raise prices. The proposed 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum could cause sweeping disruptions to the American alcohol industry. Canada supplies around 60% of all the aluminum to the U.S., meaning a tax on imports could make it more expensive for companies to manufacture beer cans. Judd Watkins owns Wrightsville Beach Brewery and Brunswick Beer and Cider. He's concerned about a rise in production costs and says this uncertainty is particularly frustrating for small business owners like himself.
But we're finding ourselves now as we're hearing about all this is like, well, do we order 5 to 6 months just in case instead of the normal 2 or 3 months? The challenge there for a small business owner is how much capital do we want to tie up in something that's going to sit on a shelf without beer in it for 5 to 6 months. It's a gamble.
Last month, the Brewers Association told its members to brace for a potential rise in cost, especially for smaller producers. The proposed tariffs are set to go into effect March 12th. President Trump is also considering reorganizing or even getting rid of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Some Helene victims in western North Carolina agree with the idea. FEMA is met to provide temporary housing and funding for repairs while insurance foots most of the bill. But most people in western North Carolina understandably did not have flood insurance. One man says a few days after Helene, a FEMA inspector came to his property and told him to go online to apply for disaster assistance, but the man had no computer or reliable cell service. He had to travel 100 miles to his nephew's house to apply for aid. Another woman says FEMA denied her request to bulldoze her house even after an inspector told her the home was a complete loss. The woman claims FEMA representatives told her she needed receipts for certain personal items which she did not have. We have the full story on our website. In Wake County, the public school district is launching its new panic button for classroom teachers. It's the district's latest tool to make schools safer. The security mobile app Rave allows users to quickly notify administrators of non-emergency incidents on campus and in extreme cases alert law enforcement in the event of an active shooter. It will be rolled out to 2 separate phases at about 120 schools tomorrow, not the entire district, so the app is not initially overloaded. The district's Office of Security says nearly 86,000 employees, including teachers, have updated their contact information in the app, even though school teachers and staff aren't required to download the app. It's expected that all schools will be part of the rollout by sometime this spring. And tonight we want to know, do you think your school district should have a panic button type app for teachers? Right now, 88% say yes, 77% say no, 5% say I don't know. Thanks to everyone who's voted so far. If you would like to vote, just scan the QR code on the top of your screen or head to our website. Coming up on your news at 11, the Department of Government Efficiency seeking to access taxpayer data at the IRS. What sensitive financial information could be obtained? Tonight, the White House defending Elon Musk's team over attempts to obtain access to the system that contains the tax filings and bank statements of millions of Americans. Rachel Scott has more on the Trump administration firing hundreds from the FAA and Homeland Security, among other agencies.
Tonight, the White House on the defensive after Elon Musk's team requested access to an IRS system that contains the personal information of millions of Americans, including their tax filings and bank statements. Top administration officials insist it doesn't mean Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency will go sifting through private tax returns of individuals.
I can give absolute 100% insurance. I give you complete and total assurance on that point.
This as the president and Musk proceed with sweeping layoffs of thousands of federal workers. At the IRS, sources tell us 15,000 workers have been identified for possible termination, with tax season just around the corner. And we are learning Trump has fired hundreds of people at the Federal Aviation Administration, just weeks after that deadly crash at Washington's Reagan Airport. The firings touching more than a dozen agencies, including the Departments of Homeland Security, Veterans Affairs, and the Centers for Disease Control. Victoria says she was laid off from the Forest Service in Montana.
I was devastated. I've built my whole life around this. I mean, I've worked for 10 years to get this job. Finally.
She says the layoffs have rocked her whole community.
Down with Project 2025.
Elon Musk doesn't even know my job exists, right? But like we do a lot. I mean, I'm a public servant and I do this job because I love it. So yeah, I'm devastated, and my whole community lost their jobs, and I don't know what I'm going to do now.
Other government workers like Elizabeth Anaskevich, who worked for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, described a disorganized, chaotic process that left her with so little information, she says she can't even file for unemployment.
We were just basically tossed out on the streets. And so that has been angering and heartbreaking. And our pay stopped the day we got the termination letter. So we're all without a paycheck as of Tuesday.
That was Rachel Scott reporting. Some of that confusion has played out across the federal government. Hundreds of workers at the National Nuclear Security Administration have been fired. Some officials were unaware that those workers were responsible for managing the United States nuclear weapons system. In the last few days, officials have been scrambling to hire them back. Sports is next on WWAY News at 11. Don't go anywhere.
WWAY Sports brought to you by Hughes Brothers Tire and Auto.
In Concord, the City Council approved $750,000 in incentives last week for a new multi-million-dollar Cadillac Formula One racing facility. It's expected to create about 300 new jobs with an average annual salary of new employees around $100,000. Construction is scheduled to finish sometime in 2027. The Cadillac F1 team will use the facility to build engines for its future cars. The group is set to start racing in F1 next year, but it won't use its own engine until 2028. Back at the Cape Fear, Port City FC is hosting open tryouts for the upcoming season. Port City FC is Wilmington's first ever United Premier Soccer League team, the fourth tier of U.S. professional soccer. Tryouts for the upcoming season take place March 23rd at Coastal Christian High School in Wilmington from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tryouts are open to athletes age 15 or older, and all positions are welcome. Interested players must complete the online registration form on their website and submit a $50 fee. Considered one of the best basketball players of all time and Wilmington's own, Michael Jordan celebrated his 62nd birthday today. Jordan was originally born in Brooklyn, but his family moved to Wilmington when he was 5 years old. Jordan attended Laney High School, where he played basketball, baseball, and football. He would go on to play for the North Carolina Tar Heels and win a national championship as a freshman. After 3 years, Jordan declared for the NBA draft, where he was selected third overall to the Chicago Bulls, and the rest is history. Jordan would win 6 NBA titles, among many other accolades in his professional basketball career. And tonight in our sports poll, we're asking, who do you think is the greatest basketball player of all time? Right now, 50% say Michael Jordan, 10% say LeBron James, 20% say Tim Duncan, and 20% say other. If you would like to vote, just scan the QR code on the top of your screen or head to our website. We'll keep your warm clothes handy. You'll need them. Up next, Lee's back with a really cold forecast this week.
Definitely dress warmly on the way out the door in the morning. It'll be 30 degrees. We'll get sunshine tomorrow and scattered clouds, but a really nice day as a whole. Temperature is cooler than the average. 54 is going to be the afternoon high. Now, with Wednesday all the way through the end of the week, look at how the temperatures drop, and this Arctic air flows in right as a storm system in the Gulf moves off the southeast coast. So what this means for us, there will be a cold rain on Wednesday, but as that cold air starts to move in from the northwest, it could become freezing rain. This is northern and western communities. My main concern tonight is in Robeson County, also Bladen County and Pender County. These are communities that could see an accumulation, we call it an accretion of ice. So we have to watch for that concern. Winter storm watches are in effect in those areas, and of course tune in tomorrow morning. We'll have the latest information on if those are updated and issued for warnings for the area.
And download that Storm Track 3 weather app.
Great advice there.
All right, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.